Good morning, YouTube. So we're back again today. So the last deck profile we brought was a fun deck. We brought you the wall. This deck is a serious deck. This is what I'm probably going to be bringing to most of the tournaments that I enter in the set 1.5 format. This is going to be the deck that I call Leopard-Force. Now, we're just going to go ahead and hop right into it. So the focus on this deck, it started off like a standard Ulforce-Veedramon deck. Ulforce is just one of the best level 6s that Blue has access to, and it's a deck in and of itself. However, with Ulforce, you are putting all of your eggs into one basket. You are solely reliant on the Ulforce to win you your games. You have to dedicate a lot of your slots in your deck to Tamers. Most Ulforce decks will play like 10 Tamers, and it really hurts their consistency because by fitting all those cards in, you're missing out on all of your lower levels. So this deck has all of the strengths that Ulforce decks have by building up into this big boss monster that can attack multiple times, but it doesn't have any of the weaknesses because I'm only playing 5 Tamers in this list. So doing that, I'm only playing 3 Ulforce, so you're not as reliant on it. But I am a strong believer that the best secondary mega for aggressive blue decks is Leopardmon. Now, Leopardmon isn't a deck in and of itself. Like, a lot of people are asking why you would play this card when we have access to Imperial Dramon Dragon mode, when we have access to Metal Garurumon. And this is because this card makes your deck a lot more aggressive. Just with your lower level Digimon, by giving them all jamming, you make it so that you are in a position where even your lower level dudes can swing freely. So, on top of that, you have Ulforce going tall, where you build up into this big stack, and then you have Leopardmon, which whenever you evolve into it, you play a level 4 or lower card from under one of your stacks as its own separate Digimon. So this allows you to go wide. So it allows you to have 2 forms of aggression, and like I said, you have all of the strengths that Ulforce has, because you can build up into this big boss monster and consistently attack 2 times with it, 3 times with it even, by suspending one of your other Tamers, because we're still playing 5 Tamers in the deck. But you don't have to cut out on some of the levels because you aren't focused on this as your only win condition, because you can rely on the rest of your deck because this card exists as well. So a lot of people are advising you not to pick up Leopardmon. I wouldn't invest heavily in it. I'd maybe grab yourself a couple copies, because it is going to be a good card moving forward. In Imperial Dramon decks, if you want more than just the 4 blue Imperial Dramon, the green one doesn't necessarily fit your build, and you want another mega to play as a 1 or 2 of, Leopardmon's a good pick. It boosts the power of that deck, Leopardmon boosts the power of this deck immensely. It adds so much to the consistency, and I'm really excited at what this deck is doing in testing. Like, I am absolutely floored by how well this deck performs. So these are the only level 6s in the deck, and I feel like starting off with these in the deck profile makes sense, just because it helps you get the idea of what this deck is supposed to do. But we just have the 3 Leopardmon and the 3 Ulforce-Veedramon as the level 6s in the deck. So going right along to the babies, we have 4 Upamon, because it is your generic blue baby. It's still the best blue baby it's still the best blue baby in the game. Just no ifs, ands, or buts. And I do have one of this Demi-Vmon in here as well. This one is the one that says whenever this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, it gets plus 1000. Having a power boost in decks like Ulforce with all the Veedramon support is amazing. I am constantly just swapping this card out with the other Demi-Vmon that says if you have jamming whenever you swing with it, you get to draw a card, because that also helps with the Leopardmon lines. But I could definitely see either one, and I myself am constantly back and forth between the 2. But right now, these are the babies that I have in the list. On to the rookies. Now, don't panic. There's more than just these here. I have a whole another slide. But this is just what we fit on here. We're going to start off with the 5 vanilla 2-cost rookies because they're good. They're generic. In every deck that is focused on going wide, these are great cards to have. If you're focused on evolving up in the raising area, maybe keeping stacks in the raising area so that you can protect them, these cards are not for you, but in every other deck, these cards are amazing. And then we have 2 Gabumon. Now, we're going to see a lot of people moving away from playing 4 of this card in the set 1.0, shifting to the set 1.5 format. And the reason is you're going to be valuing more inheritable skills. Blue has access to so many good draw cards that you don't necessarily need to play 4 copies of this Gabumon. However, it is still a great card. I like having 2 of it in the deck. I don't think I'd go any less than 2 of this Gabumon. And if any of the rookies decide to stop pulling their weight, it's an easy inclusion to add a 3rd copy of this. But on to the second slide of the rookies. We have 3 of the good Gomamon that's, gives you the inheritable on deletion effect of gain of memory. Goes really well under your blockers. Goes really well under a lot of cards that you just want to dissuade them from deleting. I did cut a copy of this to include more copies of Vmon along with the Gabumon. A couple copies of this got cut so that 5 Vmon could be in the deck. Now, you want to play a bunch of cards in this deck with V in their names so that you can hit them off the Rena. I do play 4 copies of Rena, which adds so much to the consistency. And that's a problem with typical Ulforce decks, is you're spending a lot of turns playing Tamers. And when you're playing Tamers, you aren't putting bodies in play. And so, since I'm only playing the Rena and 1 other Tamer in the deck, every time I'm playing the Rena, I have a very high likelihood of just getting a net gain off of that card. And then Rena lets me power up my other dudes. By suspending her. So, making sure that I can constantly hit targets off of the Rena so that I can add to the consistency of the deck. I play at least 4 cards with V in it of every level, just so that if I'm ever fishing for a level and I activate Arena, I actually have a pretty high chance of hitting it. But this Vmon by itself has jamming, and this Vmon has an inheritable effect that says when this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, you draw a card. So I'm not really sure if these are the correct ratios. This puts it out at 15 rookies. I could cut this Vmon for another level 5 if I so chose, or you can even cut one of these Vmon for an Omnimon if you want to play an Omnimon in this deck, because I'm not playing Omnimon right now, but you can fit it in if you choose, but I wouldn't play more than 1 or 2. But right now, these are the 15 rookies that I have. I do like these cards in testing. I just don't know if I would put 3 of this one and 2 of this one, or vice versa. But we're still testing, so we'll let you know soon. Now on to the level 4s, or the champions. This is a very important part of the deck, and where I start to have a lot of differing opinions when it comes to a lot of the pro players. So if you notice, we have 4 different champions in the deck, and the one that is 5,000 power is only a 1-of. So what that means is whenever you pull these cards out with Leopardmon's effect, Leopardmon says you can pull a level 4 or lower out of it as a Digivolution source, as its own separate Digimon. You can pull out any of these 3 cards listed first, and they won't have any cards under them so that they can't be de-digivolved. So when your opponent drops Omnimon Alter S on you and decides to try to wipe your board, these cards remain. These cards will always remain. This is a great anti-meta pick, because moving forward, Alter S is going to be the new Omnimon of choice. Black and red both are going to try to play 3 to 4 copies of it. Red's going to attack, a couple other copies of the regular set 1.0 Omnimon as well. But Alter S is going to be the new meta. So when you build your deck, you want to have as many cards that can survive that board wipe as you can. That means hitting over or 6,000 power or over. So I play 4 Grizzly because it's a blocker. Play 4 Gorilla because it's super cheap. I play 3 of this Veedramon. While it is not cheap, it adds so much to your aggression. You know, you have the blue Tamer, so you get this inheritable effect of, if you have a blue Tamer, on all turns, this Digimon gets plus 1,000 power. It makes it so that your Digimon are more likely to survive whenever your opponent is swinging. It adds to your offense, it adds to your defense, and by itself, it has an effect that lets it attack twice. That's amazing. If you give it 1 boost off of one of your Tamers, this thing hits 7,000 power and can hit over blockers. It makes it so that, you know, if you have Leopardmon, this thing has jamming. So that's just a great offensive pivot. It lets you add so much value to your deck, even though it costs more to evolve into. This is just a great all-around card. It's great to evolve on top of because you can always pull it back out. And it's great to have in your stack because of this nice inheritable. And, you know, being able to give this card jamming, being able to give this card jamming, and making both of these hit 7,000 when you attack by tapping your Arena or your tie is really nice. Now, the last level 4 I'm not really sure of. I wanted to put another card with V in its name, so if I was ever starving for a level 4, I could grab it with Arena. You know, you want those good ratios. And this card by itself has jamming, which is good. It's great. I'm just not sure of it. Like, the Veedramon 0 didn't really seem to add a lot to the deck. Like, it seems like it is a good card, and I've heard players say that this Secret Rare Veedramon is absolute garbage moving forward, and that people should invest in Veedramon 0 instead. And I strongly disagree with all of them. I think moving forward, this card is a much better pick. And cards like Veedramon 0 and this Veedramon are worse just because of the existence of Alter S. But I wanted another card with V in its name. Playing 4 of this seemed excessive because of the high Digivolution cost, so we're left with this card. So far, it's pulling its weight, but I could definitely see this changing out for something else. Now, on to the level 5s. This is an interesting kind of lineup we got here. We'll start off with the Monze because it makes sense. We have 3 Monze. I didn't necessarily think 4 was correct because you do want to include 4 of the Arrow Veedramon, and I did want to have a Loader-Leomon in here as a tech because it is good. It's another good card that you can stop on. Like, this deck has the Veedramon that you can stop on as a level 4 and inflict insane amounts of damage by getting 2 attacks in. If you have the Leopardmon, it gets jamming. If you have the Tamers, it gets powerful. And then you have the Loader-Leomon, which is powerful by itself. So it's an amazing card. With 2 Tamer buffs, it ties with every level 5 in the game. And with 1 Tamer buff, you know, it can trade with them. So I think dropping a Monze for a Loader-Leomon was a wise choice in the end. And then Arrow Veedramon's just a great card. Whenever you evolve into this, if you have a blue Tamer in play, you get to unsuspend one of your blue Digimon. It's amazing. It adds to your aggression, it adds to your defense, because you can just make it so that you can evolve this into or on top of one of your level 4s and make it so that your opponent can't swing over that level 4 or anything else that you swung with, or you can unsuspend like this Vmon and just a double attack with jamming if you don't have the Leopardmon in play, or if you have the Leopardmon in play, you can unsuspend anything that has jamming and swing with that. It's a great card. And then it passes up the skill. When this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, it gains jamming. This is very beneficial to the Ulforce-Veedramon that we have. So you always want to evolve Ulforce on top of the Arrow. So that way, whenever you swing with the Ulforce, you tap a Tamer, you give the Ulforce power, it unsuspends itself, it gains jamming, you gain a memory, and you just stockpile all of these effects on effects and effects, and it's just very good. So, like I said, this deck has all of the strengths of Ulforce-Veedramon, but none of the weaknesses, because these are the options and Tamers of the deck. We have 4 Hammer Spark. It's blue. You got to play 4 Hammer Spark. In mono blue, it's a no-brainer. And then for the 5 Tamers, we have 1 of the V-Tamer tie and 4 Rena. So V-Tamer tie is a really good card because it only costs 2 to play. It lets you draw 1 card for free, potentially every turn, as long as you can keep a card with Veedramon in play on your side of the field, which is possible, but it's not probable. So I'm only playing 1 of it. It also has the effect that you can just rest this and give something plus 1,000, but again, you need Veedramon on field to activate that. This Rena just replaces itself whenever you play it. Like, you just reveal the top 3 cards, add something with V in its name to your hand, and since you're playing, 4, 8, 13, 16 cards with V in its name, you're revealing 3 of them out of a 50-card deck, you're probably going to hit something. And this card also lets you just rest itself whenever something attacks and give yourself plus 1,000 power. So what's important is these both suspend themselves on their own terms. Like, you don't have to do anything else to just suspend them. Like, with the set 1 mat, you have to play a Digimon, and sometimes that'll pass the memory. So you want these to be able to activate by themselves so that the Ulforce can continue to activate its effect. However, you don't want to play like 9 of these. I see regular Ulforce decks playing like 9 of these, and that makes sense because your only win condition in the deck is Ulforce. You need to attack with that thing like 7 times in order to win because it has to hit around their blockers and all of their security. But this deck doesn't have that weakness because the Ulforce is complemented by the Leopard. And the Leopard lets every card on these slides right here just add so much to their aggression. But yeah, this is the full spread of the deck for those of you that want to take a screenshot and play with it for yourself. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you guys thought. And if you guys are curious on builds for any other 1.5 decks that you want to see, let me know because we might do a couple more of these, just a couple more of these in the future. But yeah, we'll see you next time, guys.